Welcome, D-Aliens. We've got a historic top 10 because of what the Big Dumper is doing. I go behind the scenes on why Joey Chestnut is not my hot dog champion, and we unveil another personalized emoji. It's time for Watch D.A. Live. And how we doing, everybody? Happy Sunday on an Independence Day weekend. So glad you're with us. I'm very excited about tonight's show. I have not been on the air in a week, okay? I have not been on the air since this time last week. I took the entire week off for the holiday, and so I've got takes. I'm brimming with takes. I got to get to takes. I was not on the air at all Monday through Friday on Sirius XM, where you can catch me weekday mornings on Channel 82, Mad Dog Sports Radio. So let's just bubble over with takes tonight. Also, tomorrow night is the first ever Ask D.A. Live. That's right. Tomorrow night, for members of the channel, you could ask me absolutely anything within the privacy of our own home. It's for members only, so make sure you are signed up to be a member. Click on Join above me on the YouTube channel. Click on Join, and for the price of less than a chicken sango, you too can be part of not only Ask DA Anything tomorrow night, 7/7/7, July the 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, but you will also get exclusive content, exclusive videos here on the channel, known as the Raw Feed series, and a discount to all DA show merch, just like this glass, just like these awesome Rose of the Cat tees, just like the Feeling Good Doing Well t-shirt, Brady Bunch inspired. You'll have a constant discount, which I will give to the Jedi Council, those members, tomorrow night on the Ask DA Anything. So make sure you are joined, because also in the chat you will see the green, and the green represents the members, and the members have their own emojis. And tonight we also unveil the newest personalized emoji. All right, let's get things cooking with your Furious Five. Nut is once again the Nathan's hot dog eating champion. And you may have seen both Mraz and I proclaim that he's not our hot dog champion. And there's a reason for that. And I got a couple of questions over the weekend about why, what happened. And also, you're a loser. He's a legend. He's an American hero. Let me just give you the background. If you don't know the background already, I've talked about this before, but perhaps you missed it. Perhaps you're new to the show. Perhaps you haven't heard me tell the story. Approximately 2016, we are doing evenings on CBS Sports Radio. Joey is going to be competing in the hot dog eating contest. I think it was 48 hours ahead of us. So we were going to have him on a Thursday. He was going to compete on a Sunday, I believe, or a Saturday. There was some time there. We were in contact with his PR people. And his PR people said, what would you like him to do? Now, they came to us and said, let us know what you want Joey to do. And I said, great, Mraz, let's cook up something really creative and cool. I knew he was not going to eat 30 hot dogs on our airwaves. Not 48 hours ahead of time before the competition. I was not under any delusions he was going to stuff his gullet full of hot dogs because he had a competition coming up. But I said, let's make things more creative. Let's have the listeners create the coolest, most creative or unique toppings on a hot dog. We'll get the condiments and toppings, and then Joey can be our taste tester. Take one bite of 3 hot dogs and let us know, hey, the hot dog king let so-and-so know your toppings are the best toppings. This is a great combination. Or this one stinks. I thought it was a home run. And the PR people loved it. In fact, when they came in with Matt Stoney, Megatoad, who was also in tow, they brought in a platter of 50 steamed hot dogs. They wanted us to do something. They wanted us to do hot dog stuff. Great. He gets in there during commercial break. Hey, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. Nope. What? Yep. Nope. I said, let's hash this out of the air because we're going live in about 30 seconds. We go live, and I say, all right, Joey Chestnut is in. He's going to be competing. He's won so-and-so number of championships in a row. This guy's a living legend, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure you're tuned into the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. He's here with Megatoad. This is going to be great. And Joey, we've got something for you. You are going to taste test hot dogs that our listeners helped create as unique toppings. Joey, as though the dog refuses to come in from outside, yanking his chain, telling him we got to go in. It's time for bed. Nope, not doing it. Shut down. Totally shut down. I'm like, he goes, I'm not eating hot dogs. I said, Joe, talk to your PR people. And this was all in the air. I said, they said you're doing it. I don't know what to tell you. He goes, I'm not doing it. It became the most awkward segment I perhaps have ever done on radio. And the PR people know they have blown this because we have the paper trail, and they're so humiliated. And he starts rambling incoherently about why he's not going to do it. He would never eat hot dogs this close to the competition. And he said, what am I, a trained monkey? I said, not for nothing, Joey, but what else? Why else are you here? I mean, we're not here for your take on whether the Seahawks can repeat or not. I mean, what else is there? You're eating hot dogs. We're just going to talk to you about your family background. And he said, I haven't eaten hot dogs all day. I won't eat hot dogs. We said, you've done media all day, and you were on the air this morning on SportsCenter eating hot dogs. You're lying to us. He was such a crank. He had been apparently caught in traffic with PR people from multiple media events. He shut down, and because he shut down, Megatoad was like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't do it either. Like, Joey dictated the rules of engagement for everybody. And we're like, well, why are we here doing this? You brought in 50 hot dogs. What, for me to stuff my face full of 50 hot dogs? All you got to do is eat one bite of 3 dogs. And I said, in fact, take one bite of one hot dog. Stoney, you can take one bite of one hot dog. Mraz will take one bite of one hot dog. And we're done here with the bit. I mean, pulling teeth to get him to take one bite of one hot dog. Oh, okay. All right. Got it. And he just was a complete stubborn crank. And that was his last media spot of the night, so perhaps it was a long day. But hey, we're here to promote the hot dog eating contest. You brought in the hot dogs. Your team has a plate of hot dogs. Just take a bite. When all is said and done, it makes for one of the worst segments of all time. We say, fine, you're out of here. Go. Goodbye. See you later. And from that point on, we were all just so disillusioned. Now, Mraz, Joey was his hero. This is a fat kid that grew up watching the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, wanting to be in it. Joey Chestnut was his hero. He goes, I can't root for that guy anymore. I can't. He's like, it's like seeing your hero. They say never meet your heroes. That was this. Well, lo and behold, not only do we see a guy like Badlands Booker come into the studio year after year, come to the Bob's Bar events, meet the listeners, and the guy might not win the championships, but boy, he was slugging hot dogs, 15, 20 a clip a night before the competition. Now, maybe that's why he didn't win, but neither here nor there. That guy was there to perform. That guy was there to be a good sport and understand, hey, this is all kind of a joke anyway. Let me just make sure I'm here for the theater of it. Joey took himself so seriously. Anyway, after that, we just said, fine, you're banned from the show. We're not going to have you on anymore. We're not promoting you anymore. We're not doing that. We'll root for other people. As I've told the story, you would be shocked how many people behind the scenes of radio shows, TV productions, or even the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest have whispered to me, we had the same situation, DA. Nobody goes public because he's such an untouchable champion. I'm not scared. I don't need Joey. I don't need him. We got Badlands. I don't need him. So frankly, everybody else can whisper behind the scenes about how difficult he is. But then when he gets up on stage, oh yeah, Joey, American hero. Oh my God, what a legend. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I'm here to tell you the truth. And people behind the scenes will echo this privately. He's a diva. He's an egomaniacal diva. And it's like, dude, all you do is eat hot dogs, okay? I don't know. You think you're Tom Brady? I mean, give me a break. You eat hot dogs. You're a disgusting pig that eats hot dogs. It's all that this is. It's one giant comical sideshow. To take yourself seriously, let's get real around here. So he's difficult. I'm not here for the difficulty. He's not my hot dog champion. That's that. Number 2. By the way, if you want the behind-the-scenes stories on anything like that and you need background context, that's what tomorrow night is for. The Ask DA live show, 7 at 7 p.m. Eastern time for members only. If you want background like that on anything you may have listened to over the years or thought about or considered or heard or read or whatever, that's what that's there for. Number 2. Big trade of the NFL this week was Jalen Ramsey heading to Pittsburgh. Minkah Fitzpatrick coming back to Miami. Jonnu Smith involved as well. I would tell the Pittsburgh Steelers, good luck. You're going to need it. I know when you grade out Jalen Ramsey, he is still an effective corner. And I know if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers today, you're thinking we're going all in 2025. We've got Aaron Rodgers. We need to make sure we have no leaks on defense. And Minkah began to erode in his playmaking the last 2 seasons. And if we're going to unload Minkah and maybe it frees up money for TJ Watt, then that's all a good thing, which is fair. Now, you are absorbing or bringing in Jalen Ramsey's contract, which suggests you won't have as much flexibility for the TJ Watt deal to get done. So I'm not sure how much of a win that is financially. But there is a reason that Jalen Ramsey has basically shot his way out of town or departed 3 different organizations in his prime. Ramsey is difficult. Ramsey is a handful, and ask anybody in Miami how much of a handful he has been. Jalen Ramsey has an attitude. Jalen Ramsey can at times be uncoachable. Jalen Ramsey plays by his own rules. And maybe much like Aaron Rodgers, you walk into a locker room with Mike Tomlin at the helm, and maybe you fall into line because of all of the titles and all of the Hall of Famers and the uniform you put on. But perhaps not. And I would say for a Steelers team that at times has seemed to desperately need leadership to keep guys in line, George Pickens, to bring in Aaron Rodgers and to bring in Jalen Ramsey, and cross your fingers that these guys who have been egomaniacs before and have been difficult on coaches before and have played when they wanted to play or how they wanted to play before, to bring these guys in and hope that it goes smoothly. Again, good luck. Careful what you wish for. Tomlin's right now feeling pressure. The front office is feeling pressure. And so they're trying to make bold, swashbuckling moves this offseason. But I'm telling you, you're bringing in some head cases. Rodgers, we know. Now it's Ramsey. You got to figure out the TJ Watt situation. You also brought in DK Metcalf, which hasn't always been the smoothest sail either. The Pittsburgh Steelers better hope they've got a great culture, which I don't know if we've really seen the last couple of years, because they are really rolling the dice on personalities this year. Watch that as a storyline. How do the Steelers, from a chemistry standpoint, from a locker room standpoint, how do they fit together, and do they all row in the same direction? Because I got my doubts. And Jalen Ramsey, yeah, my doubts are centered on your locker in that locker room specifically. Next up, some basketball. You know, this Milwaukee Bucks situation is historic because who in their right mind would take $100 million for a guy to go away in the NBA? Dame Lillard busts his Achilles, and the Milwaukee Bucks are like, we'd rather not have you around, and we'll just pay you out with this exorbitant salary. The reason is because the Milwaukee Bucks are run by paranoia. Rightfully or wrongfully, I don't think it's a great way to run a franchise, but in some ways it's understandable in the NBA. You desperately need centerpiece talent. You need Hall of Fame center points of a championship squad. You've won a championship with him, and there was a long desert before he got there between Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Oscar Robertson, etc., and then 50 years later winning another title. So if you have been through the desert and you know what it's like not to be a championship caliber team, and you have Giannis or the guy to make you a championship caliber team, maybe you have to operate with paranoia that if he leaves us, oh my God. But this is, to me, a critique, a bit of a black eye on how today's NBA roster build is now created or prioritized. We all know you got to have the guy. This year, Oklahoma City had the guy in SGA. We know that throughout history, almost every NBA champion has the guy at the middle, and the Bucks were that in 2021. But in searching for the second guy, I think the Bucks have continuously ignored fit for power, star power, headline, and hope. You know, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday seem to be the right fit around Giannis. Add in Lopez, add in some role players. That's the right fit around Giannis. And then it was swing for the fences. We're bringing in Dame. And that is clearly imploded upon the Bucks. And now compounding that mistake to bring in Dame with that monster contract is to buy him out over the next 5 years and then sign Miles Turner and hope that it's that much different than just having Lopez on your roster, because statistically it doesn't feel that way. But what you're doing is you're operating from a paranoia that we're not good enough as is, and anything is better than not doing something. And it's a dangerous game to play when you're operating from paranoia. And it's a dangerous game to play in today's NBA where there is such massive penalties for the second big contract on your roster, which pushes you over an apron or the second apron. And so the Bucks are doing something today that is probably the last thing you'd ever want to do in life, which is, you know what? We're kicking the can so far down the road that we know it's going to be bad for a shot at wealth today. You know, any good financial advisor will say, you want stability in your life? Plan long-term, plan long-term, plan long-term. Anybody would tell you plan long-term. Think 10, 15, 20, 25 years ahead and make decisions today to help you then. And what the Bucks are saying is, to hell with then. Doesn't matter. We need to get rich today. Because we got rich 4 years ago, and it was really awesome. We may never get rich again. Get rich again today. And they are putting themselves in quite a pair of handcuffs here. My goodness. $113 million is it to Dame Lillard over the next 5 years for him not to play for you? Whoa. Next up, we move over to the NFL. And we got news this week that there was another potential hurdle to the Browns' new stadium being knocked down. And while it's anything but settled, the Cleveland Browns and the Haslam family want to go full steam ahead for a domed stadium in the suburbs. And I believe that the idea that the Browns and or the Bears and or the Commanders going to domes sounds good right now, but ultimately is going to age extremely poorly. I'll tell you this. I think that today you're going to get the people that say, well, real football is played at neutral sites. Real football is played without the elements. Snow and freezing rain and sleet. These things only neuter great football. And if you really want to watch the best athletes play the best football, you have to have controlled climate. That's why you don't want weather at the Super Bowl. And they'll also tell you, well, you need a roof on something because, you need the Final Four there. Don't you want indoor events as well? Why would you build a stadium just for football? Put a roof over it. Now you can have all of the other events. You know what? You'll never get snowed out. You'll never get, and maybe you can have a Super Bowl because if you're outdoors, you're not going to get one. But indoors with a roof, suddenly Cleveland can have a Super Bowl. There's all these things you will hear from the people that think about the here and the now. Well, we could get the Final Four in 5 years. We could get the Super Bowl in 10 years. We don't have to sit through the snow next season. But that is not long-term thinking, and I'll tell you why. Let's go back to the early 70s when Three River Stadium opened up in Pittsburgh and Riverfront Stadium opened up in Cincinnati. The Vet opened up in Philadelphia. Busch Stadium opened up in St. Louis. And Atlanta Fulton County Stadium opened up in Atlanta. Shea Stadium opened up in New York. All of these multi-purpose circular stadiums that would swing from a baseball diamond to a football stadium. And the idea in the late 60s and early 70s was, look at multi-purpose. You're saving so much money. Look at this. It's beautiful. Brand new artificial turf. For football, you can seat 75,000 fans. For baseball, if you have a huge game, you could also have 65,000 fans. Wow. You know what? You don't have to spend for two stadiums. Utilitarian. It's set downtown. Everyone, massive parking lots. This is the future. This is great. And what they lost in that transaction was the soul of the old ballparks. And so in Pittsburgh, you lost the soul of Forbes Field. You lost the feel of the old ballparks that had character, that had a personality, that you would then look back and say, man, wasn't that special? And ultimately, when Camden Yards came around, we could see, oh my God, the future is actually the past. To go back to the soul of ballparks was to mean we don't want cookie cutter, multi-purpose, utilitarian, massive parking lot stadiums. That actually doesn't work for us. We want personality and soul. And so those ballparks aged so poorly that they were built in the early 70s. By the late 80s, by the 90s, it was like, oh God, these things are terrible. They're so outdated. Can't wait to blow them up. The Kingdome in Seattle, dark, sterile. The Metrodome in Minnesota, dark, sterile, depressing. What is going to end up happening is we're going to start building a bunch of domes we already have to make the climate control the thing, to make the Final Four the thing, to make the upcoming Super Bowl the thing, and that will be so short-lived. Because what people will want in the future is actually a connection to the past. And they will see the photographs or the NFL Films footage of Jameis Winston dancing in the snow, or the 85 Bears barking in the NFC Championship game as snow falls down. And they will want that because everything else will have become so sterilized in life. AI and computers, the way that we develop architecture. Look at your laptop, your phone. There's no personality there. It's all sleek and uniform. It's minimalist. That will be how we build a lot of things in the future and how life will feel in the future. Sterile, artificial, inauthentic. And sports will give us a connection through video, through feel, through photograph of what it used to be, and people will want that. And I guarantee that when we get 20 years from the opening of a dome in Cleveland or Chicago, people will go, I miss the old days. You might say, well, the Lions never went back and the Vikings never went back. That's true. But there is a longing for what it meant to be outside at Tiger Stadium, what it meant to be outside in a cold weather climate, especially in football. And I think when you start thinking that you're building something for Super Bowls or for Final Fours or for climate control, I think what you're doing is ignoring that so much of sports is about nostalgia. So much is about previous generations. And care and love and passion dates back to those things. And you want people to care? Well, you want them to feel connected to the past. It's a really bad gamble for the Browns and the Bears, the Commanders, or whomever, who have had outdoor stadiums before, to believe that the future's indoors. And this is going to sound like, oh, DA is all about throwback jerseys and natural grass. And of course, I feel very strongly about this. In the future, the old days of sports will matter even more. It'll matter so much because so much of the world will have changed to where it feels artificial, and you will desperately care for that. You look at cities now, municipal planning, urban planning. There is now a big push to getting people back into urban centers. Live there, walk to cafes, walk to restaurants, live in apartments, build these entertainment areas to live and work in. Truist Park in Atlanta is a great example of this. They built a neighborhood so that you can live, work, play all in this area. Because suburban sprawl is not for everybody in terms of cul-de-sacs and white picket fences and driving to your Cheesecake Factory, but instead being in a walking area. There are municipalities ripping up interstates that ripped through neighborhoods and made it sterile. In the future, we will want and crave doing things that feel like they used to feel. And sitting outdoors at a football game is always going to be one of those things. Always. Guarantee you. And you pull up this video. Let's see, it's 2025 today. Somewhere in the future, if YouTube is still around, this video will exist in 2050. You tell me how those dome stadiums aged. I guarantee you I'm right. I guarantee you. Finally, how about the big dumper? That's right. Cal Raleigh has been an absolute monster this year. The catcher of the Mariners is on pace for 60-some-odd home runs. He's the story of the baseball season, and his nickname is the Big Dumper. Who doesn't get behind that? Right now, Cal Raleigh is on pace for perhaps the greatest offensive season of any catcher ever. Now, we are a little bit more than halfway through the baseball season, so catchers wear down. It's a physically demanding position. Who knows where Raleigh ends up? We've seen guys like Reggie Jackson look like he's on pace for 60 home runs and finish with 38 or 40. Who knows what happens down the stretch? But I wanted to give you my top 5 offensive seasons ever by catchers. Let's do a little rankings here, shall we? And of course, a nod to the old school. Number 5. How about Gary Carter's 1982 season? Now, of course, Carter has those incredible exposed threads on. But this was a guy that had an 8.6 WAR. 8.6, which is one of the single greatest seasons ever, wins above replacement for any catcher ever. 29 home runs, 101 RBIs, finished second in the NL MVP. Gary Carter's 82, an 8.6 WAR. Number 5. Number 4. How about Joe Mauer? Mauer's 09, he had just a home run fewer than Gary Carter and 5 RBIs fewer at 96 RBIs, but he won the American League MVP. And how about this Joe Mauer, who missed an entire first month of the season? hit 365. Imagine a catcher hitting 365. Mauer in his prime was ridiculous. What a season that he had with a 7.8 ERA. The number 3 greatest offseason or offensive season of all time for a catcher, Roy Campanella. Campy's 1953. He also won the MVP. Hold your hats. Campanella, who was known as one of the heart and souls of the old Brooklyn Dodgers, dem bums, the team that always ran into the Yankees and lost in the World Series, but was a bunch of heroes in the borough of Brooklyn. In 1953, Roy Campanella, 41 home runs and 142 RBIs. Think about that. In a 154-game season, he had 142 ribbies, hit 312. Campy was incredible. Campy is, I think, overlooked by history because he doesn't have the rings of Yogi Berra, because he played a long time ago. But Roy Campanella's 53 season, and he's a Hall of Famer, was absolutely iconic. The second greatest offensive season ever by a catcher, Mike Piazza's final full season in L.A., 1997. I mentioned Gary Carter's 8-6 WAR. How about an 8-7 WAR? Mike Piazza's numbers in 97, he finished second of the MVP, 40 home runs and 124 RBIs, and the greatest single-season wins above replacement in catcher history. He was outrageous, and you could really stack like 3 to 4 prime Piazza seasons in here. If you just wanted to give me Piazza's 5 greatest seasons, that could make a top 5 all-time catcher offensive seasons list. But Piazza's 97 is his best ever of an incredible slew of dominance. The number 1 season of all time by a catcher at the plate, Johnny Bench, Big Red Machine, 1970. The guy won the MVP because when you hear his numbers, you're going to vomit. Johnny Bench hit 48 home runs and drove in 148 RBIs. And this was him scratching the surface, the first chapter of an entire decade of absolutely owning the catcher position. 48 and 148. 48 and 148. And basically played every day. Bench's 1970, the guy played in 158 games. He missed 4 games all season at catcher. No DH back then. He played in the field every stinking day. 158 games played. 158 games played. He drove in a 148. My goodness. Oh, also won the Gold Glove. So the best defensive catcher in the game as well. Bench's 1970 is without peer. My goodness. Look at that list. Look at how gorgeous that list is right there. Look at those uniforms. Look at those eras represented. Now that's a list. Bench in the 70s. Mauer in the aughts. Piazza in the 90s. Campy in the 50s. And Gary Carter's beautiful 1980s Expos, light blue, powder blue road threads. My God, is that a list? My God, my goodness, is that a baseball list? D.A., you've done it again, you dog. You've done it again. All right. One of the greatest things about the YouTube channel is the opportunity for memberships because they allow us, YouTube encourages us to be silly. And I like being silly. I like platforms that encourage us to be silly. And one of the things that they encourage us to do is create unique emojis and badges. So if you are a member, if you have joined the channel, and again, you can do so by clicking on join above me or taking the URL in any one of these videos or the description of the channel and just popping it in a browser. For the low, low price of less than a cup of coffee at a Starbucks, you have full access to this channel. And that means you show up in green or upcoming a blue badge, depending on how long you've been a member in the chats. You have access to unique emojis. You have access to the Ask D.A. live show, which comes up tomorrow, and you have permanent merch discount. This week, we shall unveil a brand new emoji. And the best thing about this is I've been taking requests from you guys. I want to know what you want as personalized emojis. YouTube says we get just two more members. We can unveil a new one next week. Okay, so we got to kind of hit quotas here. We get a new one. And I got some great suggestions. But I was on vacation this week, and probably because I'm sick in the head, most of my vacation is spent thinking about the next unique emoji. Thinking, what would make a good one? I want something that is a hook on the show for listeners of the show that they get the reference. Old school listeners would wink and nod of the reference. Also, though, it represents an emotion that you would feel during something that I do on the show. I thought anger? Excitement? Well, that's a good one. How about surprise? How about shock? How about stunned? That's right. If you've been with us along this radio journey of mine, you remember a certain segment called Stunned to a News. My fine, fleshy friend, Sean Mraz, once was caught in his words, as he normally is tongue-tied, and said, I am stunned to a news, which I don't even really know what that means. But that became a great segment of something that is pretty shocking, a news story that is pretty shocking. And so Aiden Hatt and the Market Marvel unveil the new personalized emoji, which you can get as you type in news. And that is a stunned to a news emoji. And, you know, we have now the roots of that with the Bad Bite every morning, because the last story of the Bad Bite really is a stun to a news, right? It's usually a news story of somebody doing something awful on a flight. That's usually the way that it goes. So we really have the bones of stun to a news. And there you go. That's Mraz reading through a newspaper and being stunned to a news. Although that face is not stunned enough. We might have to next week, and we might have to upgrade that to a more stunned look. We might need a more stunned look on that. But either way, his bald head peering above a newspaper just feels good. Here is your member-only emojis. Rosie the cat for good luck. Bears with tails. Making tacos, which just means you feel good. Cinnamon berry. That's one sexy berry. John Fisher the clown. That is Morty D'Souza, shirtless, playing the tuba. And there you go. That is also stunned to a news. I mean, this bit that YouTube did is built for us, is it not, people? This is built. How ridiculous can we get? And how many emojis can we build that nobody outside of our family would ever understand? We are an eclectic, eccentric, lead from the heart type of family. That's what I know. Bob's Bar and the Bad Bash hammered that home. I met so many listeners that I just instantly connected with and thought, well, there's really no separation between host and listener on air and on the other side of the speaker. These are my friends. And I felt like, you know what? Everybody here has a really interesting personality, has interesting stories to tell. And they all lead from the heart. I love it. I had such a good time at the Bad Bash, such a good time at the Bob's Bar, just talking to everybody and feeling the vibes. And I thought, yeah, these are my people. I'm just having a really good time hanging out with everybody. And so they're letting us have our own emojis? Yeah, please. We'll do more of that. And we need to make sure that these emojis make no sense to anybody else. That's the key. They have to make no sense outside of these walls. That's when you know they're good. What is that? What are they doing again? What's going on over there? You'll figure it out. Come on in. Join us. We are not exclusive. We are inclusive. But come on in. We'll teach you. We'll teach you the ways. So I appreciate you guys, and I love the suggestions, and we absolutely need as many of these emojis as humanly possible. Look at that. B Squared has joined in. All right. My man B Squared. My man B Squared goes back so far, the KC days. I love you, brother. He has come out to many a station event before. When I was on 610 Sports in Kansas City, B Squared was always there. One of my most loyal D-aliens, one of my most loyal listeners. Love that dude. Biggest heart ever. Exactly what I'm talking about. Big personality, leads from the heart. I love you, bro, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody that has joined the Members Club. Tomorrow night, anything you want to ask, it's the first edition. We do it monthly. Ask D.A. anything. Tomorrow night, 7 at 7 p.m. Eastern time. There you go. Aiden, let me bring you aboard here because I know you've got comments, queries, you've got all types of action in the live chat. If you're watching this on Twitter or you're watching this on Instagram Live and you want to see the full chat, hop on over to YouTube and watch it there because that's where I think you get the full experience with the emojis, with the badges, with everything like that. But it's all good in the hood no matter how you're watching out there. This is how we do it every single Sunday night at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Aiden, how was your 4th of July? Because I had a great one. I was with my in-laws up in Rhode Island. I always post pictures of eating lobster rolls and sitting by the pool and having my Narragansett beers. I have such a good time up there. But the 4th of July Sunday drive back was an absolute brutality. Beat me the hell down, which is why we were a little bit late tonight. I'm scrambling, doing my prep and doing the emoji and doing the graphics and everything like that. So I was scrambling. So I apologize for being late, but it was about an hour plus, it was an hour and a half longer than it normally takes to get home. It was a shredding of one's soul. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was very relaxing here back on the Cape before I go back to lovely Boston. And the weather in the Northeast was just beautiful. I'm not going to speak for the entire country because we got listeners, including Jason, who's welcoming us to the Jedi Council as well.
All right, Jason. Jay, welcome aboard, dude. Appreciate that. I think that's the 2 signups we need for a new emoji next week. All right, so we hit the quota right there. Beautiful, boys. Nice job.
Awesome. Shout out to you, Jason. And yes, it was a beautiful 4th. Hit the over on, I'm actually a burger guy, over a hot dog guy. That might be a hot take, but that's where I'm going to stand. And I think the newcomer comment of the night that I want to highlight was from Adam, who's watching on YouTube. He says, I always root against Chest Butt because of the stunt he pulled on UTA.
The stunt. That's right.
There was a lot of comments on past friends of the show, new friends of the show. What the hell is going on with Joey Chestnut? I was here on the front lines on Cape Cod saying, hey, you're going to watch Joey Chestnut at 12 o'clock on July 4th. But let me just tell you the backstory. He was a jerk, and the grudge, it's not necessarily a grudge still being held. We're just remembering history. And we have a better guy to root for in Badlands Booker, who we have to just give him his props. 21 seconds chugging a full gallon of lemonade, a new world record. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. If you were at Bob's Bar or you watched online, you could see or watch the deep dive that Aiden and I did on how great Badlands was to everybody. He was truly next level great, friendly, cordial, very generous with his time, had everybody take photos with the belt, but he also performed. He stepped up and was like, yeah, I'm going to do warm Fanta, warm strawberry Fanta, and I'm going to crush this. And he did. So it was like watching Jordan, hit a jumper in front of you. You're like, oh, my God. But then to watch him on the 4th of July the other day, demolish everybody on that stage. I mean, annihilate everybody. And those are competitive drinkers. They're all chuggers. It's not like me competing against them. It was like these are competitive eaters and drinkers. And he annihilated everybody. 21 seconds, new world record, a gallon of lemonade. I was so proud. I don't know if you felt the same way. I was so proud that our guy did it, knowing that he's that type of guy.
He did, and it was amazing to see. And that was, they stick it at the end of the broadcast. Hey, here's, the chugging competition at the end. But the way that my friends and family talked to me after we all met Badlands at Bob's Bar, that's going to become the new main event because everybody knows Badlands chugs on YouTube. Last time I checked, YouTube's the place to be with our Jedi Council, with our Watch D.A anything. And Badlands chugs also the place to be. Go subscribe to him because he's a fan of the show. So, you just have these moments where You know where you are in the place of history. You know that the Browns Dome Stadium will be a failure. You know, you know that those new Miami Marlins jerseys really do suck. And you know that you're watching Joey Chestnut, and it feels like the steroid era. It feels like, when Bronny got drafted, it feels like something's just not right. It feels like Perry Ellis in his 7th season of college basketball. Something doesn't feel right. And for the rest of his career, I'll feel that way. I don't know how old is he? I mean, does he have how many of these does he have left? We got to start talking about these like we do LeBron's seasons.
It's a great point. I would imagine he's in his probably early 50s. This is my guess. I would think. I mean, I hit 46 last month, so I got to think he's 5 years older than me. But then again, maybe Badlands is immortal. Maybe Badlands actually is younger than me, and he's just, he's actually a god in some ways. I don't know. But Delta 9 Brian, a.k.a. Backwards Brian, this says it all. He's an amazing human being. He is. He really is. And Backwards Brian grabbed the empty Fanta 2-liter, had him sign it, autograph it, and has that in his cubicle at work. I mean, is that not one of the great game-worn jerseys of all time? The empty Fanta bottle from Bob's Bar 2025. My goodness, you can't beat it. Moist Pork has the data. I love this. Badlands 56 years old. So you're right. How much longer can he do it, Aiden? Are we talking about, he has until 60? Can he push after that? Can he be a Tom Brady, pushing the boundaries of what is normal for the human body? Time will tell. But my goodness, the man right now is a machine, and he is so far beyond anybody else in the chugging category.
I think that the way that the rules are changing to favor the quarterbacks, Tom Brady could play till he's 45, 46. That's how we're going to feel about chugging. They say eating a hot dog is the new smoking, but last time I heard, there's no such thing as chugging being a bad thing, especially when it's lemonade. It's not alcohol. So all that tubed meat, hey, we're not wishing death on anybody, but the sport of competitive eating, I'm just going to go out on a limb, having watched the hot dog eating contest every year, and that's pretty much it, and a chicken challenge here or there. But the way that things are going, we're going to be more interested in chugging later on, and that's why Badlands is in the best shape possible.
Yeah, I'm with you. One of the things that I love about our group is how welcoming they are. This is a group that has a lot of inside jokes because they've listened to a lot of radio, watched a lot of YouTube show. That's part of the bit. But if you come from the outside, do not fear like you're not part of the crew, because look at this. As soon as we had a couple of signups for the members, you had welcomes coming all over the place. Ruben and Randy Trask and many others welcoming the new members, which is just awesome. I knew that it would be that case. I knew that it would be that way. So jump in the chat. Even if you're not a member, everybody can chat. This is always open to everybody. Come jump in the water, say hello. You'll be welcome with open arms. Love you guys. Appreciate you. And thanks for leading with your heart. I think that's the coolest thing about this incredible group that we have built around here. And, Stephen Murray says it well. Sunday nights are all about this show, Watch D.A. Live, and, of course, doing laundry, because that's me adulting. That's exactly right. We all have to adult just a little bit. And I think there's been a lot of questions about how long my hair is getting. And I see that in the chat every so often, or pretty much every week. And when I was at the 4th of July party that my in-laws threw the other day, and one of their neighbors said, DA, how long are you going to let your hair get? I said, well, I got a haircut coming up on Wednesday. Oh, really? How's that playing with your listeners? I'm like, I think it's good, although they do make fun of me quite a bit in the chat, so I actually don't know. I thought, well, you might be wondering why I grew out my hair like this. And that's what tomorrow night's going to bring. Yeah, that's right. That's what tomorrow night's going to bring. And if you can't be there live as a member, that'll be archived for you as well. So you can watch the entire thing. You just won't be able to get your question in. But so bribe one of the other members to make sure they get your question in so I can answer it. in real time tomorrow night. But I will take you through tomorrow night why I decided to grow my hair. And there was a reason. It wasn't just like, oh, I got lazy. There was a reason. I will explain the entirety of this. Now, on Wednesday, I'm not cutting it short, okay? But I got to get it trimmed because it's getting a little unruly in the back and becomes a whole thing. As you see, it becomes kind of mullety, So it's got good volume. I'm lucky. I'm an Amendolara. My dad's got good hair. I got good Italian flow with the hair. But there was a strategy behind this, and I will explain this to you tomorrow night as part of Ask D.A. Live. We got Watch D.A. Live and Ask D.A. Live.
Real quick, we need to do a birthday shout out because
Okay.
It is Wallace Myers' birthday.
Yeah!
Happy birthday, Wallace.
Wallace, use as many emojis as humanly possible. That's what tonight is all about for you, dude. Wallace actually sent me a photo of a commemorative 1986 Mets can. He's a Mets fan like me. He showed up to Bab Bash wearing a Gary Carter old school Mets jersey. So if you saw my social media, you saw a picture with him. Beautiful, crisp, old school jersey. Wallace sent me a photo of this 86 RC Cola can. He's like, I bet you'd appreciate this. I found it in my parents' house. I'm like, dude, not only do I appreciate that, I have that can. When I was in high school, I did a lot of memorabilia collecting, and one of the things I found was one of those old school cans. It's a really cool RC Cola can. RC Cola still kicking around, at least here in the Northeast, but very hard to find. They were the official soft drink of the Mets back in the 80s, and the can is pinstriped. It is white with pinstripes, just like the 86 Mets jerseys with the racing orange stripe down it, and it says 108 wins to crown the regular season. Then I think they made another one when they got to the World Series, when they beat the Astros of the NLCS. So he sent me his can, and I'm like, I have that actual can. I actually have that. And I have a bunch of my stuff at my parents' house still in their attic, but that's one thing I brought over here to Casa D.A., which is actually, you've seen me do a shot from the bar area in the basement here at Casa Mendo. And in that bar area where I have all my bourbons and my Santo Tequila displayed is where I have that commemorative can. I'm very proud of that. So yes, Wallace, happy birthday, brother. He was the first ever member. He's the founding father of the members of the Jedi Council. He was the first sign up ever. And so, yeah, man, happy birthday. And happy birthday to everybody, including America, that celebrated this weekend. And I hope that you had a really good holiday weekend. I think that, the first thing is your heart goes out to everybody in the Texas region where the flooding happened. I mean, that was heartbreaking, heart-wrenching to watch and to learn and to read about over the weekend. Here you are celebrating with family and you're having it good. You're having burgers and dogs and fireworks. And then you're like, oh God, there are people that are really hurting right now. This is the worst weekend they could have. So I'm always thinking about them. I know we all are here, but just hopefully you spent it with fam, friends, and, built a memory. To me, that's what these long weekends are about. You just build a memory because, a lot of us, the cup can run dry, right? Like sometimes you just run real empty on the oomph, the good. You got to find it where you can get it, and you might be depleted. You might be stressed. You might have this. You might have that. And then you have an event or you have a hobby or you have a memory, and you're like, got filled up again. My tank is now back up. That's what I hope this weekend was for you guys. Long weekend. Hopefully you took some time off from work, spent it with family, did something that you wanted to do, something that you love doing, fill that tank back up. Now you're like, okay, now I got that in my reserve. Now I can use that as my fuel. I know that's how I feel about a long weekend where I get to eat hot dogs, hamburgers, lots of cookies, a lot of cookies. I probably should have stopped eating cookies, but I had a chocolate chip cookie for breakfast this morning, amongst other things. But that's the type of weekend it was. It's a mix and a salad this week, DA, type of week. But I needed to fill up that reserve. And I got there. I got there with a breakfast chocolate chip cookie. It was delicious. Real big cookies. Okay, I'm excited about tomorrow night. I really am. And so, as I mentioned before, hit that join button above me if you want to join us tomorrow for the private members only chat. But also, I wanted to give you a little sports zen. These are things that also I get filled up through. And it's always retro, you know. So we were doing the greatest offensive seasons ever by a catcher. And is this not just so mid-90s that it has to be sports zen? That's a young Mike Piazza, and that's a young Carson Daly, and they're on headsets at Rock and Jug. Oh, yeah, once upon a time, kids, one of the most anticipated baseball games or sporting events of the year was a bunch of celebrities hitting baseballs at statues of cows in the outfield. That's right. There were hip-hop artists, and there were rock musicians, and there were celebrities and actors and actresses, and there were some athletes as well, and they wore their hats backwards, and they tried to hit farm animal statues in the outfield for extra runs, points. I don't really know how the scoring worked. But on headset right there alongside play-by-play aficionado Carson Daly, known as the Bob Costas of the MTV generation of the 90s and TRL, is Mike Piazza. And I just thought that is just so perfect. That is just too perfect. That, my friends, is peak 90s. And we needed it for Sports Zen. Let it wash over you. Let it wash. Let it wash. I need a wash. Sitting in traffic all day. And my dad, Papa Mendo, probably had some anger issues when I was growing up. Very short temper. And very loud, very animated. And when my dad was in traffic, it was like, oh God, we're so scared. Dad's so angry. Dad is really mad. And he would curse a lot. F this guy. And some things came out of his mouth that I'd never heard as a 9-year-old. Whoa, what does that mean? And so I internalized that and said, I can't do that in front of AJ. Can't do that in front of the Bourbon Bell. I'm not going to yell. But when I get stressed out in traffic, I start pulling my hair. I go, and I grip the wheel real tight. So I'm just as stressed as my dad. So I don't know if I learned any lessons there. I just try not to show it outwardly. I try. So, you know, AJ's still at the age, he's a little over 2. So he's still got, you know, he's face backwards. So he can't see me. But that was most of my trip home. That trip is supposed to take 3.5 hours. Took us 5. And it was just bumper to bumper. Then you get off the highway because Waze or Google Maps says, oh, take this shortcut. And then it ends up being longer. A lot of that. So I need to chill. I need to go eat something. I'm ready for a quiet Sunday night. That's what I'm ready for. I love you guys. Thanks for making my Sunday nights worthwhile because it's like, yeah, I'm on vacation this week, but I want to do this show. And the Little Mo laugh of the day always gets me in a good mood. And let's go back to the NBA draft because I love this. This was Aiden's suggestion, the Market Marvel. This was the NBA draft prank. And, you know, Little Mo's always watching from above. He used to love the radio show. I'm sure he's still watching now and laughing his butt off at silliness, which is why we do silliness. We love silliness, and we know that he would love it as well. But how about the draft prank, okay? I think we're going to play a video here. And here is a dude who's 7'2", that just acted like he was an NBA draft pick. Watch this.
My name's Dice. I'm 7'1". I work at a production studio, but today I just got drafted by the Blazers. Let's do it. How old are you, bro?
13.
13, you gonna be my height, man. I can feel it.
You saw my weight?
Of course, bro.
Yo, thank you. Congratulations.
Yes, sir, my man. You sure I'm too tall? I can't get that number real quick?
Stupid, where's the Trailblazers?
The Trailblazers, Portland.
That's so far away.
That's
you can't
far.
have my number.
No, it's fine.
Oh,
It's fine.
number.
I'm from Jersey. I be here all the time.
Okay. Where'd you go to college?
Me, I went to college at Duke. Playing basketball, man. You end up here, man. Guys, appreciate it. Hey, to Portland, man. To Portland, man. Hey, what do I owe you for the shot, boss? Nah, man.
Don't forget us here on the bear. Big name in it.
I'll be back. What you mean? I got drafted 11. You ain't seen me yet. Look at that. Don't make it hot. Don't make it hot. It's a video. Don't make it hot.
I love this. What a great prank. I'm 7-1. You know what? I'm going to put on a NBA hat and walk around outside Barclays Center and say I just got drafted. I played at Duke. Awesome. I love that. Absolutely love it. Cheers. That's a great prank. I'm also very happy to see that Ben Bozo, probably better than the guy they actually drafted. I also love to see that I am not alone in needing anger management during traffic. Mild-mannered Moist Pork, who's one of the nicest, most generous guys I've ever met, convinces himself he might need to go to anger management every time he sits in traffic. That's right. We're all in this together. Look around you, Ellen. We're the threshold of hell. Oh, no. It's a good old family Christmas. We're not going anywhere. And I really relate to when Clark melts down like that. Dad rage. Yeah, there's a little bit of dad rage in there. And, you just gotta manage it. And then nobody can be perfect. Just gotta manage it. Find ways to manage it. And as Matt in Calgary says, there's still time for a few Labatt Blue Lights this evening. And that's exactly right. That's what's going to happen with dinner here tonight. That's what's going to happen with dinner. No, seriously. This show is so much fun that even when I have a vacation, I cannot wait to jump back on Sunday nights. And so I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had a great time tonight as well. I can't wait to see it tomorrow night on the Watch D.A. Ask D.A. Anything. That's got to brand this a little bit clearer. But you get the point. It's going to be a live Q&A if you're a member. So come join. If you can't watch live, it'll always be archived as well. And maybe, just maybe, if you're not a member, we will admit to things that should not be admitted to next week on this show. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see just how honest the truth game gets. But love you guys. Seriously. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. I appreciate Aiden Hatton, the Marquette Marvel. He is the best. There will be a brand new Q&A long-form conversation coming up this week. Very excited about that. And another members-only video, the Raw Feed series. And just for maybe A's fans that are tuning in tonight because they watched the video, The Guardian did a pretty explosive report on the lack of financing still that the Las Vegas A's need to have a ballpark out there in John Fisher. I did a kind of a deep dive into that article. Did really good traffic this week. I got tons of comments. Seemed like everybody in Oakland, specifically in Vegas, were really into this. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. I think it's an interesting deep dive because there are some quotes from the article where it's like, oh, wow, there is some real doubt from a lot of people that this will ever get done. Not surprising, but it's not me. It's not just an opinionist. It is an economist that is saying that thing. Like, this ain't going to work. And the quote was, John Fisher has to realize he's a dead man walking. Okay, let's dig into that. So check that out. That video is on this channel right now. It's the last long-form video that I did. You should see it on the homepage, but obviously it's part of a million different playlists on this channel. Just go back to videos, and the last video that's not a short is that video. Check it out. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel. Click on subscribe. Also, go to the merch store. It has awesome stuff. What else can I say? WatchDAstore.com. WatchDAstore.com has t-shirts and mugs and cups and all types of awesome stuff. WatchDAstore.com for your merch. And thank you to Last Dive Bar because, you know, the guys out there, Brian at Last Dive Bar, Paul at Last Dive Bar, and everybody in Oakland, they have helped make this show how cool it is. They spread the gospel, spread the love, spread the word. They helped me build the merch store. They're still operating the merch store. They'll always be part of our family. And if you use our code MOTHERSHIP, you get 15% off your order from lastdivebar.com. So if you're like me and you can't stand John Fisher and you want to support the A's and you want to support the city of Oakland and A's fans specifically, maybe not the A's, but A's fans, you can either buy the Forever Oakland t-shirt that we have in my merch store or any number of a million awesome designs that they have at lastdivebar.com and use our code Mothership for 15% off and spread the love. It's the Mothership way. All right, that's going to do it for us. Go enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I will see you Monday morning, tomorrow morning on Sirius XM, Channel 82. The DA Show with Babchick. We are back together. Cannot wait. Ton of takes coming. Ton of fun coming. We haven't even recapped the Bab Bash because we were off all of last week, so we'll do that as well. Babs Night tomorrow morning on the air. All right, I'll see you then. Be good. Be good to one another. I'm DA, the Mothership. Disconnect.